Well, we're here at the Ohsweken Speedway with a familiar face we haven't seen in a few years, Daryl Turford, and you're a crew member on the Sam Hafertepe Jr. Team, and you've been basically based out of Texas for the last 3 or 4 years now. What's it like coming back home now, and you get to race 2 nights? Pretty special, isn't it?
It's always nice. I grew up racing here, and we only come back about once a year, and that's if we choose to follow the Outlaws here, which we've only done, I think, 1 time since I've been with Sam. So it's been really nice to come back and just see everyone that I haven't really seen in a long time and see what's going on down here.
Now, the life of a crew member on the crew of a traveling sprint car, maybe not as glamorous as some people might think, but it's a pretty cool lifestyle for you would think, eh?
Yeah, it's a really good lifestyle. For me especially, Sam and I got along really, really well. We've become best friends. The last week really showed what it's like out here. The first week we won, and then we ran second, and life was going good going into King's Royal, and then we went through a motor and we destroyed a car, so we pretty much had the good and the bad from all in 1 week there, which is pretty much what you get out here. Every night's different. Some nights are great, and then some nights just suck.
Sam's been here before. He had a really good run, actually, the first time the World of Outlaws came here. And why don't you guys come here more often? Because it's a good track for him.
It's generally border issues. It's pretty scary for teams. It doesn't actually turn out to be too bad, but the whole idea that you may try to get over the border and get screwed around usually scares teams off pretty good. I know the 1 year the Outlaws came here, we just decided to skip because there was a big money show somewhere else. I think it was in Ohio. There was a big money show, so it was just the same money, and we didn't have to cross the border, so we chose to run that race that weekend.
Well, as you mentioned, you guys did get that win a few weeks ago at Sharon, and what do you got coming up down the road for plans? Anything concrete, or are you just sort of following
sort of concrete, sort of fluid? We were planning on going to Brockville and Quebec with the Outlaws, but now we're going to go to Ohio. We'll definitely do the 360 Nationals. We'll do the 410 Nationals, and after there, the Outlaws, All-Stars, and all that, they're sort of all in the same area, and it's just a matter of picking and choosing which races are good for us. And then, as of right now, it looks like we'll be back here in September for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, but it's usually a pretty fluid schedule, but it's probably the best way to do this in terms of travel and being financially smart.
Well, talk about your time as a driver here. We saw you back with the Southern Ontario Sprints, and maybe a lot of fans do remember you from back then, and they kind of wondered where you went. What made you decide to switch from driver to crew member?
Sam had come down here that first year when he had that really good run, and the place where I was working was kind of threatening everyone with their jobs. And then that night at the track when the Outlaws were here, someone told me it was just him and his dad and they needed help. So at that point, I went with Sam to the next couple races, and things went pretty well. And at that point, I realized that this would probably be something I could do down the road if I wanted. So even that last year when I raced, I didn't hesitate to put other people in my cars just so I could practice working on the cars even more so than driving them. And then out of nowhere in June, I got a phone call, so I decided to leave. Didn't hurt that I'd broken my rear end and steering box the week before and couldn't really race the next weekend, but I'd been pretty much lining up for that whole year that I'd go on the road.
And kind of history tells the rest. Now, tonight is a big night for the fans here, but maybe more of a test session for your team for tomorrow night?
Not really. All my friends, they don't really. If we were to beat the Outlaws tomorrow, they wouldn't have the same appreciation as if we beat Tony Stewart tonight. For us, it would mean a lot more, but Sam really just came down here, more so for me than anything, really. He knows I want to come down here and win really bad, so for me personally, actually beating Tony Stewart tonight would be more. It's not that we can't do it or we haven't done it before, but for my friends who don't know anything about racing and know who Tony Stewart is, it's actually a really big deal to go out here and beat him. But if we can win both, I wouldn't be mad either.
There is Daryl Turford, crew member on the number 15H of Sam Hafertepe Jr. and from the Stratford area, a local boy here coming back to roost. And I'm Tom McGooch for OntarioOval.com.